But now the City of Tshwane gave AfriForum Youth until yesterday to remove the street names they reinstated to put the old apartheid names. The signs were put last Sunday on Helen Joseph, Stanza, Bopape and WF Nkomo streets. 27 street names in Pretoria Central were changed back in 2012 to reflect a shared heritage. And our reporter Patricia Visagie is at one of the streets with City of Tshwane spokesperson Blessing Manale. Patricia, a very warm good morning to you. What is happening at this point?
Good morning, Tumelo. Yes, indeed. I am standing here at the Stanza Bopape intersection, formerly known as a Church Street. Now, it's really just a stone throw away from President Jacob Zuma's official home. Now, this is one of the street names that AfriForum Youth changed on Sunday night. Now, you would know that, of course, they changed 49 intersections. Their initial plan was to change 54 intersections, but of course, they were stopped by the Metro Police before they could complete their task. And this is really just another reflection that the saga around the Tshwane street names has not found rest yet, with AfriForum saying that the City of Tshwane did not obey a court order, did not follow the right procedure, and therefore they feel that the names should go back to their origin. But of course the City of Tshwane feeling that, you know, we are at a time 22 years into democracy where we need to reflect the total demographics of this country and the shared heritage of this country, and they want the city to be reflective of the majority of its people. And of course, as you have mentioned, I'm now joined by the City of Tshwane spokesperson Blessing Manale. Mr. Manale, just bring us up to speed. Of course, we can see some of these names are still there. What is the latest process that the City of Tshwane will now, of course, be taking?
Well, indeed, I must say that we're very angered by the actions of the AfriForum Youth. We think that it was very provocative. We woke up on Monday morning to find that they actually brought in the old street name plates. What we seem to be understanding and is the correct interpretation of the court order was that we were granted leave of appeal, which meant that we had to maintain the status quo. The status quo was that the City of Tshwane can proceed and change the names and only keep in the new names until such time that the court has decided whether we must start a fresh consultation or not. And the court has not decided at that. And we don't believe that the AfriForum should continue to maintain a benefit when they're the ones that have taken us to court.
All right. Now, apart from the fact that you said this is provocative, right? 22 years into democracy, and it seems like every time as a country we try to move forward, we at the same time get taken back 100 steps or even 1,000 steps backwards.
Well, indeed, it is very saddening. I think that the misunderstanding of the AfriForum is that the 1994 breakthrough was not a continuation of sharing apartheid. We had said that we'd move into a peaceful transition and not to leave to carry some remnants of apartheid with. And they seem to understand that compromise to be meaning that some things of the old should remain. We had said that we must smoothen ourselves out of that. We are very angered, and as the City of Tshwane, fortunately, we are some of the people that actually one of the cities that only went for 27 names in the initial change. You have got areas where the entire towns were totally changed into African indigenous names, names of plants and names of animals, and there was peace. And I think that as the city, we believe that it is this obsession with the capital city that people don't want to let loose of the old Pretoria as the capital fancy of South Africa.
And talking about the 27 street names that were initially changed in 2012, that of course was a sign of a compromise that was reached in, all in building up to reconciliation. And I know that Paul Kruger was one of the names that that the city decided not to change.
Well, indeed, I mean, Paul Kruger, the president of the old Transvaal Republic, was kept in the city. We went for numerous other arterial names, and we also went for names that were generally accepted by black and white as South Africans that had contributed to building a united South Africa. You have got Judge Mohammed, you have got Stanza Bopape, you have got people that have actually women, business people that are actually not seen as belonging to the ANC or to any political party, but part of the Rainbow Nation that brought us to where we are today.
Now, we saw other political parties also jumping into the fray, saying that it's saddening that, organizations such as AfriForum would fight so hard to uphold the statues of colonialism. What's your view on that?
Well, we believe that it is nostalgia, it is racist nostalgia. They are missing the past, because we do not think that these changes are actually, affecting negatively any of the Afrikaner communities. The executive mayor has been reaching out to the Afrikaner communities, to Afrikaner youth. Actually, last year we had an Afrikaner youth organization donating flags to the city to say, let us bring in new South African national flags. So a lot of Afrikaner organizations are with us on the path to nation building and social cohesion. And we are worried that the AfriForum, we think that it's an election fever. We think that there are those that want to make sure that they continue to send a message of the Swart Gefar, so that a few of the remainder of the past can continue to vote for these minorities. It has become a lucrative business to harass an ANC-led government.
Now, there were also issues around inadequate consultation, some feeling that the City of Tshwane did not go the greater length to obviously include the views and the opinions of all the citizens. Is that correct, or what's your view on that?
Well, it is very angering on South Africans to tell them that they need to consult a street committee of the people having houses in that street to change the street name of a capital of a democratic South Africa. Remember, we're not speaking of changing a school name where you can say my kids are studying there. We're speaking where you are changing a street name of a capital city, and the majority of South Africans have said, let us reconfigure this capital city, let us give it a new brand. And we believe that when we were voted into in 1994 and when we were voted into as the City of Tshwane in 2011, we were consulting. The people said, go out and continue the mandate. And the mandate was, we're going to bring in a capital city that belongs to all those who live in it, black and white. And for people to say you have not consulted because the guy that owns a site, a guy that has got a back room in that street does not agree, it means that you'll never be able to rename anything, because those that own properties in those streets will say, don't change the street name because I own a property there. That is not acceptable.
And it's also part of transformation, right? Transformation is not only about the workplace, it's not only about business, but it's also about the overall picture of the country, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. It's not just about our comfort zones. It's about the bigger picture. It's about continuing to say that South Africa has developed in the last 22 years. We've got a capital city that embraces everyone else. And indeed, some people are seeing the new brand South Africa as a brand to invest in, and they don't want to be associated with an old polecat South African government. And therefore, people are actually fearful of not what might necessarily be negative impacts. And we've been seeing that there's been investment coming into the capital city with the new name, so it is not scared of any investor. People have not gotten lost. People have not been mugged because they walk into wrong streets. So there's actually no political or social basis, as I'm saying, except maintaining the past.
Now, what about the accusations that the City of Tshwane is ignoring the existence of especially the white Afrikaners in Pretoria as a whole, and you do not take their views into consideration when you do make such serious decisions?
Well, it is indeed very, very incorrect. We have at every step of making major decisions about the city, particularly where we believe that it will affect the interest of minorities, not only in terms of soft issues like heritage. When we are reconstructing our road systems, we go to the rich, which some of these Afrikaner organizations stay in and say, do you think that we must thicken or we must broaden the road? We go to them and say, we want to build in a mall here. Do you think that it will affect the value of your property? So we consult the rich even when we don't have to on matters of national importance, on matters of spatial development. So if the Afrikaner community and this minority, particularly the AfriForum, thinks that we must consult them on every step we take, when we've got the rest of the 57 million South Africans behind us, it is not going to happen. That is not how democracy works. Unfortunately, we can compromise, we can concede, but the views of the majority must always supersede of the minorities.
Now, Blessing, a very disturbing reality is that this happened on the brink of a heated racial war that was happening in the country, of course, after the utterances of Penny Sparrow on social media. And literally a week thereafter, AfriForum go and put up these street names. What does that say?
Well, we actually believe that it was not coincidental. AfriForum, because of its racist nature, saw an opportunity in the Penny Sparrow and the loss of the other racist vitriol that came into the social social media, and then thought that maybe there was a regroup of some strong anti-racism or some strong Afrikaner force to support them. And they did it because they thought that they've got a bandwagon to jump in. And actually what we are saying is that the rest of the Pretorians, the rest of the City of Tshwane residents must exclude the AfriForum and continue to join with us. And actually we are calling on active citizens to remove all illegal notices, whether it is a poster promoting some medicinal product or some finance scheme or some wrong name on our streets. They must remove them. That's what we understand by active citizens.
All right, now, in closing, number one, what can we expect by Monday in terms of these street names? And most importantly, what's the message that you want to send out to all who live in the capital city, whether black, white, young, old, whatever gender they may be? What is the message that you have for them right now?
Firstly, in terms of the signages, we are saying that come Monday morning, they will not be here. We will actually get our city employees to start removing them over the weekend, but we will actually go out and say to the AfriForum, pay us the money. We're going to invoice them because we don't think that we can continue to reconstruct the city and they take us back. I mean, the work we're going to have overtime employees working here, and we're going to invoice the AfriForum for the work that we have got to do. In terms of the residents of the city and all South Africans who are saying that we've started on the journey of building South Africa. We've got a national development plan that says that we've got a story to tell, and that story is a story of a South Africa that belongs to all those who live in it. We are saying they must seize opportunities, whether in terms of social reconstruction, whether in terms of cultural integration, whether in terms of youth exchange program, but we're actually saying to the citizens of Tshwane, grab every opportunity to work together and to cooperate with us as government and to cooperate amongst ourselves so that our future generations can look into, and then those are the people that made South Africa look to what it is today.
All right, thank you so much. That, of course, is Blessing Manale, spokesperson for the City of Tshwane, giving us his assurance that come Monday, all the street names erected by AfriForum Youth will no longer be visible in the streets of Pretoria. And, of course, his message there that everybody needs to stand together, work together in moving South Africa forward. On that note, it is back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Patricia Visagie, our reporter in Pretoria at this moment, standing next to, of course, the City of Tshwane spokesperson, Mr. Blessing Manale, regarding the Pretoria street name conflict there.